Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. How are you doing, Internet? I have a complaint that I need to be talking about when it comes to streaming content and home theater PCs and everything like that. Now, for a little context here, I'm a millennial. Shouldn't surprise you that a lot of us did happen to wave the pirate flag and get some of our content, because growing up, that was one of the only ways that we could properly get our media online. There was really no legitimate way to get media, and what stopped a lot of this piracy was the convenience of a legitimate store. For example, music. We know about Metallica suing people downloading music through Napster and everything, but what happened was Apple Music, well, specifically iTunes back in the day, it became Apple Music, started making it easy and convenient for you to download your music, that there was really no point in piracy because it was very convenient to get all your music. You could organize it very easily, and hell, I still rock an iPod. The iPod Classic over here. This is the 5.5 that I've modded myself. Some of you may have seen this on some TikTok and other content that I've done a while ago. This is the iPod Classic 5.5, color changed, 3,000 milliamp battery in here from the stock, 650, and remove the mechanical hard drive. Yes, they had a mechanical hard drive in here. 30 gig, I think, was originally in here, and put a 128 gigabyte SD card. But this made it so convenient that with iTunes and then the combination of this hardware, that you didn't really see the need to pirate content anymore. Now you could, and then you could go grab your CDs and everything and then rip the content and, go play whatever music you wanted. Back in the day, a lot of us actually even used to go to the library, and we would check out music, we would check out movies, and we would rip it to our own hard drives. In fact, my first home theater PC was the OG Xbox, not the Xbox 360. We're talking Xbox, the first one that Microsoft released. Pentium 3, I think 733 megahertz. I think it was 64 or 128 megs of RAM. I think it was 64, with the little NVIDIA GPU in there. Like, so underpowered by today's measure, like an 8 gigabyte hard drive, and they were straight up like x86 computers. So what a lot of us used to do was mod them and turn them into a little home theater PC with a bigger hard drive. Sometimes you get a fatter case and put a little better cooling in there, and then we would install a software known as Xbox Media Center, XBMC, which today has become Kodi, and I still rock Kodi on a home theater PC I built upstairs, which is running just, a little Ryzen 5 3400G, if I'm not mistaken. Nothing too fancy, and it was, that's what I would do for many years. It was great when the internet went out. I had my content ripped to my Xbox Media Center, now Kodi, and I would have Seinfeld, That 70s Show, whatever I needed at my fingertips from the discs that I had actually bought. Nowadays, of course, hard copies of media is nowhere to be found. I mean, both of my computer cases here don't even have 5.25-inch bays anymore. Nobody really has a disk drive in their laptop or desktop anymore. And it's really pissing me off that there are so many different streaming services. And by the way, just to get this out of the way, I'm still not condoning people go out and pirate content. I'm talking about why I think that piracy is going to have a resurgence again, because movie studios did not learn the lessons that at least Apple went about and fixed, in my perspective, with music. So I remember piracy really started to decline when Netflix made it so inexpensive and convenient to just get whatever content you wanted. I remember it was like $8 a month. This was back when Netflix literally could offer you discs in the mail as well as the streaming service that all of us know and I would say love, but that love has been waning for many of us, especially because their quality of content's been going. But I digress. And I remember a lot of my friends and I were discussing, we didn't pirate anymore because it was just not that convenient compared to Netflix. Why do it when you can just fire up Netflix and then just have whatever content you want at your fingertips in a matter of seconds, whereas we still had to spend, you would have to plan to download the media. So even if you had a pretty fast connection at the time, you would have to still plan about 30 to 60 minutes on a good connection to download your TV show or movie. Whereas Netflix, you log in and it's in seconds, streaming right to you. And that was really great. But what they didn't learn the lesson from with all these movie studios is they're like, hey, Netflix is doing great. I want a slice of that. And they didn't learn the lesson of what Apple actually figured out, which was that Apple really only, in terms of music, only has really one main competitor. I know there's a few others out there like Amazon Music, YouTube Music, things like that. They only really have Spotify to compete against. But even then, you can still get pretty much all the same freaking music on Spotify and Apple Music. That honestly, the argument becomes between Apple Music and Spotify, and why I still prefer Apple Music is they have better quality. They legitimately have better codecs and all of that stuff. That Apple Music has a better quality sound. Spotify is maybe going to get to lossless, or I think they did recently, but even then, Apple still has better quality. And then you can argue about the international libraries, things like that. Neither here nor there. The problem is with streaming content and everything, they've done a couple of things. One, I remember Netflix was such a pain in the butt to run on a Linux home theater PC, which is what I would run my Kodi on, which back in the day was XBMC, as I said. And this became a thorn in my side for a while until, Firefox and Brave had the libwidevine and DRM capabilities that now we have, that Netflix and everything didn't become so much of an issue until I signed up for Peacock recently, because I like Community, I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I like Parks and Recreation, and they just happen to all be there. And they don't support Linux. And I'm sitting here like, WTF. Why? Because they work on Roku, they work on an Amazon Fire Stick, they work on Android, and what are all those? They're Linux. Straight up, go to Reddit, go find them any posts, and you'll see people complaining about Peacock doesn't work on Linux. And I've tried it on multiple Linux laptops and desktops, and no, it just won't work. But I can get Hulu, I can get Netflix, I can get all these other services to work. But there's another problem with a lot of these streaming services that why I think that there's going to be a resurgence in piracy. Not that Linux compatibility is really going to be one for most people. It's that we have the issue of such a fracture of different content and different platforms. What I mean by that is, you go to Hulu, I have 4 or 5 seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Then you have to go to Peacock, and then you get all the seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Then, you want Parks and Recreation. It used to be on Netflix. Now you have to go to Peacock. And then you have the other issue of okay, now I want to watch South Park. Well, they're not on any of the platforms I have. And I have Amazon Prime. I have Hulu. I have Peacock. I have... I'm probably forgetting a couple. We got Amazon, Hulu, Peacock, Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus has the South Park movies, but not the South Park TV show. What? Are you kidding me? This is why a lot of people are seriously considering returning to piracy, because the convenience is now being lost. And now we're also being gouged for a lot of money. And on top of that, let's talk about this in the fact that NBC has Peacock. They're making money on the ads. Same as Paramount Plus and Netflix, they all have that. But Netflix apparently has the issue of, if you go with the ad-supported one, it doesn't have all their content. There's about 10 to 15% of content I'm hearing that isn't on the ad-supported version. Why can't there just be a free tier that has all the content that is properly ad-supported? And for those of you saying there's too many ads, I grew up with cable TV where there was literally about 4 minutes of ads every half hour, 8 minutes. And some of you are complaining about 3 minutes of ads on Twitch. If we have a fully ad-supported platform, why can't we just have that and have it free? And then maybe that wouldn't be as much of a complaint, because now it's okay, ad-supported Peacock, $7 a month. And then, I'm paying for the full Netflix because apparently they're missing some content on the ad-supported version. Then you have Amazon Prime, you're paying for that as well. Then you have Hulu. What's the point in paying for an ad-supported version? What, just because it can cost a little less? You think they're not making a bunch of money as it is on all those ads and everything there? Why bother? And I can understand why people are, wanting to throw the banner of piracy up, because it's not convenient. It's not the same thing as music. I mean, if I actually did some research recently, just on a whim, to see, is piracy having a resurgence? Because I remember years ago, back when I actually was pirating content and things like that, well, you couldn't really pirate because nobody was seeding the content. Nobody was bothering to share the content anymore. Now I'm seeing it actually increase and have a resurgence. You're finding a lot of trackers and everything there. Now, music, it's still hard to find a lot of things that still have a proper amount of tracker seeds and stuff that you can download from these different trackers and all those different things. So it's kind of shocking to see that music isn't having a resurgence in piracy, but movies are. And it's also funny to see that I remember the MPAA and RIAA, threat letters and all that going out to many people. And you're seeing a resurgence in VPNs being used. You're seeing, a lot of people they can't afford the content, and they're being pressured into having too many different sites. It makes sense why a lot of people are considering a return to piracy. I, at most, am probably going to return to going to my library to get a lot of content, because a lot of people don't know you can go to your library, you can request the different videos, and then if you really want, you can, copy it to your hard drive. Maybe not the most legal thing, but just don't go sharing it. But, yeah, it's just a gripe that I'm having right now. I don't like the fact that a lot of these media companies are not getting the memo that this is what originally caused people to pirate, was the lack of convenience. And now we're having to pay the same prices between all these different services as the cable services we walked away from. For what? You tell me. This has just been a little vent of mine. You can take or leave whatever I'm saying here, but comment down below if you have your different opinions, things like that. But, yeah, it's sounding like a lot of us are going to go yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum. Maybe have a Jolly Roger of your own behind you. This is the DEFCON 1. You do what you want with it. But anyway, I love y'all. See you around next time. Like and subscribe, and make sure to check out the Discord and all the other communities as well. Happy hacking.